Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So many spoiler season, March of the Machine, whatever you want to call it, is here because, well, Wizards got bored. So, Heliod, the Radiant Dawn, is now also Heliod, the Warp Landscape, with the MDFC version of this brand new commander. Heliod, the Radiant Dawn. This is going to get gross. Here we go. A 4/4 god that costs 2 white and says when enters the battlefield, return target enchantment card that isn't a god from your graveyard to your hand. So that's nice, but what is more effective and more impactful and grosser, that's definitely a word, right? Pay 3 in a Phyrexian blue, transform Heliod, the Radiant Dawn, activate only as a sorcery. So essentially, yeah, we're only going to have to pay 3 mana in total for the, vast majority of the time with this because that 2 life, no big deal at all. So yeah, 3 mana. Flip this over to, oh my goodness, Heliod, the Warp Landscape, a 4/6 legendary enchantment creature, Phyrexian god, that says you may cast spells as though they had flash. So Vidalcan Orrery as a commander, essentially. And on top of that, and this is the real gross part, spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each card your opponents have drawn this turn. Yeah, anytime you've got cost reduction, especially the potential of mass cost reduction, that is going to be an incredibly gross thing. So this is basically, again, a 2-color commander, now Azorius commander with Heliod. That is a Vidalcan Orrery stapled onto a mass card reduction. So you can do some pretty crazy things with this. It's not hard at all to force your opponents to draw cards. There are plenty of cards that do that, so make your opponents draw cards. Sure, you get this little benefit, right? You get to do that, but while I'm giving you cards, I have an absurd amount of spells I'm casting in a singular turn because I have my cost reduction up to 11. Turned up to 11 because, again, yeah, you're playing a multiplayer game like Commander. You have 3 opponents. If you cast 1 spell that makes each opponent draw 1, that is going to be cost reduction for 3 for every single spell you have. Basically, you're not going to pay generic mana cost after you just get things going ever again. I mean, while, your storm is going, essentially, right? And then also on top of that, yeah, I mean, X spells are absolutely going to love this. And again, all of your spells get even better because, again, you basically have Vidalcan Orrery in play, right? You've got Vidalcan Orrery, flash speed for everything. So yeah, this commander is gross, has a lot of potential to do some really disgusting things, and yeah, I mean, again, that requirement to transform, I thought would be, actually, a requirement versus just, hey, yeah, pay 3 mana and 2 life. Flip it. So, okay, I guess required is sorcery speed, right? There is a limitation to that, but still, gross. Anyways, if you are interested in this brand new commander, well, I'm going to be talking about cards on this episode, some budget buys. Cards that are less than $1 and pricier picks, cards that are above $1. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about cards on this episode, and every single card that I mention on this episode is going to be in a link in the description below. In case you're interested in this commander, make sure you check out that link and maybe pick up some cards sooner rather than later, because when new, powerful, exciting commanders like this one are spoiled, well, sometimes, cards tend to go up in price sooner than later. So yeah, make sure you check out that link. And now with all that said, let's jump into it. First up, like I mentioned, it is not that difficult at all to get your opponents to draw cards. I mean, Vision Skynes is an incredible card in combination with this commander. Hey, I mean, I guess I should say the backside of this commander. You know what I mean, the side that matters. Each player draws 2 cards, an instant for 1 in a blue. 2 mana to force every single player to draw 2 cards. So you draw 2, that's great. Your opponents draw 2 as well. And again, in a format like Commander, it's going to be, 6 cards in total? So yeah, cost reduction of 6 for all of your spells in that turn? Yeah, you're not going to pay any generic cost. So yeah, then cut a deal. Let's say you cast that after that, okay? Yeah, just a singular white mana. That's it. For a sorcery, which again is basically an instant for this commander because again, you have a Vidalcan Orrery. Each opponent draws a card, then you draw a card for each opponent who drew a card this way. So, yeah, your opponents draw 1 card, again, more cost reduction, and you draw 3. Secret Rendezvous. You can even get specific with this, right? You could just say, hey, me and you were buddies, right? Hey, opponent, if I let you draw some cards, you'll be my friend, right? I mean, they probably won't when they see what you're doing with this commander. Regardless, you and target opponent each draw 3 cards. So, again, cost reduction of 3 at the very least just by casting this. And I guess I probably should have mentioned and neglected to mention earlier, but I'm mentioning it now. Yeah, you can just do these things on opponents' turns, right? Sure. If your opponents are drawing any cards on their own turn, maybe you can decide to go off on that turn instead because you already get that just built-in cost reduction from the card that they draw on their turn. Plus, any cards they draw, from spells or whatnot. So yeah, sure, you can even just wait for your opponent's, turns essentially. Wait until, the turn right before yours, to Vidalcanori everything out. Stroke of Genius, though. Hey, a card that can be absolutely incredible and can be a game ender as well for you. Instant for X2 and a blue. Again, you can reduce all of that generic cost and just put all of it into the X as well. Target player draws X cards, so you can draw a ton of cards. Or again, if you want to finish off an opponent, force them to draw cards until they are gone. Emergency powers. Each player shuffles their hand and graveyard in the library, then draws 7 cards. Exile emergency powers. So this, again, the vast majority of the time, once you get things going, you'll be able to cast this for just, like 2 mana, But even if not, even if this is the first spell that you're casting, pay that 7 mana. You're going to be drawing 7. Your opponents are going to be drawing 21 in total. So, that is going to be 21 cost reduction. Gross. Again, just in combination with X spells. Goodbye, opponents. And of course, actually, if you do cast this during your main phase, you could also, put a permanent with converted mana cost 7 less from your hand on the battlefield. Just cheat that in. Why not? Commit to Memory. A very flexible card. A great card. Put target spell or non-land permanent. Throws library second over the top, so you can just, slightly, take away something from one of your opponents. And also then Memory, hey, let's also just, shuffle our hands and graveyards into our library. Draw 7. Great. So if you are going for a mill strategy potentially, maybe don't, utilize cards that shuffle your opponent's graveyards back into their libraries. But if you don't care and you actually want to keep yourself around because you're going to be drawing a ton of cards as well, great. Make sure that you can utilize cards like these. Next up, a dilemma is going to be happening when you utilize something like Quain Iterant Meddler. Hey, I'm going to tap and each player may draw a card. Then each player who drew a card gains 1 life. So, hey, opponents, do you want to draw? Do you want to draw? And what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of politics in this because, if one opponent's like, I'll draw, then the other one's going to be like, well, I might as well draw then. Yeah, well, what are you doing? Anyways, so at the very least, you're going to get a lot of card advantage out of this, and potentially, again, your opponents might too, and if they do, again, that comes at the cost of getting your spells cheaper. Psychosis Crawler, this can be a great finisher for you, though. Power times each equal number of cards in your hand, you can make that into a massive amount very easily, but more importantly, whenever you draw a card, you won't lose 1 life, you can drain your opponents in absolutely no time with something like this. And if you are going for that mill win, essentially, something like cut your losses can be very helpful casually too. So sacrifice a creature power 2 or greater to copy this, essentially. Target player mills half their library rounded down. If you mill someone, and again, let's just say, they've got 80 cards left in the library, okay? You mill someone down to 40, you can very easily, again, get to the point where you're making someone draw 40 cards, again, with something like, a Thought Reflection or, Stroke of Genius. And actually, ignore Thought Reflection. Don't know why I said Thought Reflection. I was thinking of like Blue Sun Zenith, but I said Thought Reflection. Oh, it's been a crazy day. Anyways, now it's time for us to talk about the pricier picks, and I don't think there's a card pricier that I'm going to be mentioning in this episode than Time Twister, which is incredibly expensive, but hey, let's just all shuffle our hands and graveyards into our library, draw 7 for just 3 mana. Or again, with this commander, most likely for a single mana Echo of Eons. This is a much more budget-friendly, not budget-friendly for me, but much more budget-friendly in comparison to Time Twister. Hey, each player is going to do the exact same thing. Draw 7 cards. We can also flash it back to do it again. The cost reduction for this commander is absolutely absurd. Windfall. There's a ton of ways, again, to force opponents to draw a lot of cards. Each player discards their hand. Draw cards equal to the greatest number of, cards the player discarded. So basically, hey, after I'm having everyone draw a ton of cards, let's just all, basically draw like 50 cards or whatnot. The X spells are absolutely going to love these kinds of things. And again, you can just have an absolutely absurd turn. A turn that just, well, is probably going to annoy your opponents because it takes so long. But this commander can do a lot of gross and absurd things. Or how about a repeatable wheel effect, like, Jace's Archivist. Hey, pay a blue, tap, basically Windfall again and again and again. So this can be a very cheap way, again, just 1 mana to set yourself up for that cost reduction. So you don't even have to cast one of your other spells to get to, that point where you're making players draw cards. Just utilize this, force players to draw cards, get that mass cost reduction, and once you get to a certain point, sure, let's Prosperity. Great, each player draws X cards again. basically, yeah, that X is just going to be an absurd amount once you get things going. And of course, that just makes it even more absurd for the next X spell that you cast, because you're basically just investing that X into kind of like an X times 3 in a way, essentially, for your next X spell, if you're following me. Regardless, even a card like Wheel and Deal can be great in this. An instant for 3 and a blue. Again, basically probably just a blue in most circumstances for this deck. A never target opponents each discards their hand and draws 7 cards. You can force a 7-card draw for all your opponents. You also get to draw 1 card, which is nice, but again, basically, hey, yeah, 21 mana into the X spells after just casting something like this. Another plan might be, though, just go really heavy into just drawing through your entire library. I mean, Teferi's Aegis Insight, a great way to say, okay, opponents, you can draw a lot of cards, right? But I'm going to be drawing twice as many. So yeah, if I, do one of those spells that, has everyone shove their library and then draw 7, cool, I'm drawing 14 instead. So I can just get through my library in absolutely no time, getting the exact cards that I need to win. And yeah, again, if you do want to, utilize something like a Thassa's Oracle win con, yeah, you might want to take out those, shuffle library effects. Regardless, a lot of easy ways to dig through your deck in absolutely no time. I mean, just think about, again, like a Stroke of Genius into, like, a Blue Sun Zenith, essentially. Yeah, things can get incredibly crazy incredibly quickly, and, yeah, you can get to the point where you have absolutely no library, and you win with this, basically like a Lab Man win condition, essentially like this, or, Jace Wheeler Mysteries, etc., etc. Or, yeah, if you do want to mill out your opponents, you can easily do that with Psychic Corrosion. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent mills 2. So not only are they going down in cards because they are drawing a ton of cards based on all the cards that you are forcing them to draw, they're also losing 2 cards for every single card you draw. So yeah, there's plenty of ways to force your opponents to mill incredibly quickly with a commander like this. Yeah, I mean, Heliod, when I first saw the front part, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I mean, I wonder what the back side... Oh, no, oh, gross. Yeah, because that front side, kind of underwhelming again. Sure, okay, a little bit, of extra value. Hey, it enters the battlefield. Cool, I can get an enchantment back from my graveyard. Well, that's nice. Yeah, sure, I can transform it. Oh, my goodness, the back is Vidal Kenori stapled on is something that is just absolutely gross because it can reduce the cost of all my spells to basically nothing. Absolutely nothing. So yeah, your opponents are going to have to be really careful and really, really, really on it to try to stop you because, again, being able to play at flash speed is already just incredibly powerful, and then having that cost reduction is insane. So yeah, this is a gross commander. I think a lot of players are going to be excited about it. If you're one of those players, make sure you check out my card list link in the description below for all the cards I talked about on this episode. And with that, today's episode is coming to a close, so yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on it in the comments below, and of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.